Hey, what's up? I don't do a lot of videos, so bear with me. This is my first one. But I thought it might be easier to do a video real quick than my normal long form uh, content. So, wanted to share a little bit of what I'm working on today. Um, so here, check this out. So, there we go. So, just to give you a sneak peek here, I'm kind of building out a little bit of a new direction or I guess I should say, I'm trying an experiment, a new way of organizing Web3 communities, a new way of organizing um, fan bases, that kind of thing. And I'm taking, I guess, a slightly different approach because one, I have Discord fatigue. I don't know any other way of saying it. I've gone from being excited to log into Discord to getting like hives thinking about all the goddamn notifications that are going to be nothing but shills in most cases. And so I tend not to even use it, and that pisses me off because I feel like there's a lot of really awesome projects now that I don't get to be up to date on or get to participate in as much. I mean, it's self-selected, but I can't deal with it. And so I wanted to explore some other options there. Also, I wanted a space of my own. I love LinkedIn, but there's been some shit happening on LinkedIn recently that you're probably aware of if you're in this space. Uh, one of which that really kind of set this whole thing in motion for me was when my PFP got removed. No notification, nothing of of that nature. Luckily, somebody in my um, sent me a DM saying, "Hey, this just happened," and I was able to get it replaced with a new PFP. But now it's got one of my ugly face on it, right? So who the fuck wants that? And frankly, it doesn't really matter to me. It's more the principle of the thing, and to me, it's a little bit kind of crazy that in today's age, LinkedIn doesn't have the foresight to understand that there might be very legitimate reasons for a professional to not want their face shown, depending on what part of the country they're in, depending on what part of the world they're doing business in, or just because they don't, maybe they don't present and in a way that most people would associate with their profession or their culture or their gender or any number of other externally applied labels that may or may not actually fit the approved image that LinkedIn wants us to all use. And I've had friends now that have been, in fact, I have one that just posted today that said they were misgendered. And it's like, in a world of that nature, of that, or I should say, in a world like that, why would we go out of our way to be like, nope, no fucking pictures? That's like, really, LinkedIn? That's anyway, wasn't supposed to be a LinkedIn ramble, but that's why I don't do videos, generally speaking. Um, but I'm gonna start doing more of these live conversations. I like talking, so I figure, fuck it, I'll talk to myself for now. And if anybody wants to join these conversations, cool. Like, hop in. And I'm gonna be building this out over the next week. But the idea is basically, like I said, I want to have a community of people that I've connected with on LinkedIn, but I'd like to have a place where, we can have we can do some live stuff like this. We're gonna have conversations, group conversations, one-on-one conversations. Also, a place where I can share, in a way that's not, like with LinkedIn, you share something and it goes away, right? Like, yeah, you can put it on your profile. But who the fuck reads those? And so it's like I kind of wanted a place where, for example, Video Academy and like the art and things like that. I wanted a place where community members could put resources that have helped them, and I'm going to kind of start seeding it with videos that helped me or that I find new videos that are interesting, things like that, articles. And then of course I'm going to fill it with just a ridiculous amount of my own writing because that's, I guess, just what I do. And I have so much shit that's sitting on my Google Drive that never makes it to LinkedIn, that doesn't make, it's not going to make it into a book. It's not going to be anything, but there's some nuggets in there. And so I thought, well, fuck it. I'll just throw some of that shit on here too. And plus, it gives me an excuse to continue to have just a shit ton of, hopefully, a shit ton of Web3 conversations and support DAO founders in particular that really are out there doing the grunt work of trying to save the world. And I know that sounds kind of cliche or funny, but if you're out there in the trenches, you're doing it. And we've seen it even in the last week now with the Ukraine situation. Like, people are coming together and they're literally changing the world, and in some cases in a matter of seconds. And I don't think people are as excited about this as maybe they should be. Like, do you guys not see what's happening? That people that don't understand what's happening, I don't know, it drives me nuts. Like, literally, we're watching the entire global socioeconomic political infrastructure that has been the default for hundreds of years being uprooted as we speak, falling under its own weight and being replaced almost as quickly by this new technology, I guess you would say. But that's what most people would say, right? Like blockchain technology and all that. But for me, that's not the part that's interesting. It's the human side of that shit. It's the use cases. It's what the technology enables creative people to do. And once you open their fucking eyes, what they see, what the world they see that we could have. And I'm so blessed that for the last 7-8 months now, publicly at least, a little bit longer than that, kind of and as a lurker, I've been able to work with people on the front lines of this industry, frontier, chain, whatever the hell we want to call it. It's so much bigger than people give it credit for, I think. And there's so much innovation, there's so much excitement, but yet, as is to be expected, that brought in a lot of bad actors as well. It brought in a lot of people looking for easy money, looking for quick turnovers, speculative trades, that kind of thing. A lot of copycat, like an unbelievable amount of copycats, and it's starting to infect, in my opinion, at least, it's starting to affect, or infect rather, the community at large. And I see it a lot on Twitter, and I'm starting to hear other people say it on Twitter, and it's not as bad on LinkedIn, thank God. Hopefully it won't be. But at any rate, for now, it does seem to be getting just a little bit worse on LinkedIn. And new people coming in, especially, I find they're still confused, which is to be expected. It's still very new, and that's normal. Like, that's a learning process for anybody, right? The problem is they're not just confused, they're also scared, and for good reason, right? Like, what if I lose my seed phrases? What if somebody, what if I click on a contract that cleans me out? Well, what if and then of course you have your builders too. Like, they're having issues. Like, well, how do I get funding? How do I distinguish myself, right? From there are all these people out here just fucking doing, Bored Ape clones, and with no value to the communities that they're in some cases building overnight. But yet I'm over here, not me personally, but like, I'm talking to people that are over here like fucking saving the rainforest and or the coral reefs, or they're attacking climate change via, carbon credits or something of that nature. They're funding African orphanages, the telecommunication, like DAO-owned telecommunication projects that could potentially offer free internet to the entire world, like literally taking on Elon Musk in some cases. And then these are serious people, they're smart people, and they have great ideas, but because they're committed to purpose over profit, it's harder for them to get the attention. It's harder for them to get funding. It's harder for them to pull teams together. And even when you find people that are passionate or want to help, if you don't have the funds to pay them, how could, like, we live in a world where, if you don't pay your rent, they take your house. Shit. Fuck that. If you don't pay your water bill, I found this out. If you don't pay your water bill, they turn your water off in under 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. Just fuck you. Don't get any water anymore. because if you can't pay, fuck you, you don't deserve to live. And that's kind of the mentality of Web 2. That's the mentality of capitalism in general, to an extent. Now, you could argue that certain businesses, certain individuals have overcome that, and have used their success, their capitalistic success, to help others. Certainly, there are examples of that. But as a whole, the system is not designed around that. The system is designed around exploiting as much, or I should say, extracting as much value as possible from other individuals, and literally up until the point where there's no more to pull, and at that point we let them go all out and live on the streets and become, and then they're the drug addicts, and then we get to blame it on them and say that it's all their fault because they're degenerates, which is funny because then there's a bunch of fucking rich kids that call themselves degenerates when they're buying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 JPEGs with no utility. But yeah, the homeless guy who got who lost his job, and after being in a accident, and now their leg got hurt, and now they got addicted to opiates because that's what our pharmaceutical reps show up and sell and give kickbacks to the doctors, and oh, hey, here you go, and now all of a sudden they're addicted to pills, and they can't work, and oh, what's that? Too fucking bad. You're out. Your ass is on the street. No safety nets for you. Good luck. Oh, it's probably your fault anyway, right? I'm fucking sick of this world. I really am. It fucking drives me up the wall. I'm tired of LinkedIn every day. Somebody telling me how great the hustle is. The hustle fucking sucks. I'm an entrepreneur, not because I want to be. I'm an entrepreneur because I suck at being an employee. I tried being an employee for 2 fucking weeks. I didn't do well at it. I don't like it. I'm not going to ever do it again. And I did it under the best possible circumstances. I had a fucking awesome team working within Web3. Great people. Awesome project. And I'm just not an employee. Doesn't work for me. I can't motivate myself for money. And I find that in a lot of the people that I'm, again, getting blessed to meet and talk to in the industry are wired kind of similarly to me, right? Like, they have a purpose or a passion that drives them, and that's what gets them up every day to work, right? It's to help other people. It's to make the world a better place. But it is, and that's what their goal is. And the money is just, I was telling one founder the other day who was having who we were talking about some of their hiring strategies and some of the issues they run into, and I find this a lot too, where people try to throw, especially if you're lucky enough to get funded somehow, right? They throw money at the most expensive developer or community manager or whatever, and it's like, that's fine, but if you hire somebody for the money, then that's all they're going to do it for. And so we talked about a way of kind of working around that and finding people that were passion based first, and then giving them enough money so they don't have to think about money. But so I'm not saying money shouldn't be part of the conversation, but it shouldn't be the point of what you're doing. And that's all I see now. And I it fucking terrifies me, because at the very least, we are going to miss out on an opportunity to build a world for our kids and our grandkids that could be truly unrecognizable, eliminating, in a lot of cases, the daily suffering that people across the globe experience. Not because it's some type of inherent suffering, but because we have built systems underneath the underlying philosophy that humans are only worth their monetary value. And everything else, every other system, here's the secret, by the way, here's the secret rich people understand that you fucking don't. Every other system in your life is based on that. It is based on extracting money from you and moving it to somebody higher up. That's it. Everything from the fucking DMV to when you go to the wait, like if you're at a restaurant with waiters, or every system that we use on a daily basis is pretty much based on that assumption, with a few very notable exceptions. Like you could talk about like a nonprofit organization. Sure. Except most nonprofit organizations are just startups that give away the majority of their profit. In some cases, they give it to I mean, not all of them, but some of the people that I've worked with in the past, they have lots of nonprofit organizations. It's a great place to put your money if you don't want to get taxed on it. And then you can buy as as a trustee of as a trustee of the nonprofit organization, you can buy all kinds of things for yourself, tax free, and then actually get a tax credit in some cases. Which of course everybody knows that's what they're doing with art, and that's of course what led to the speculative drive of NFTs in the first place. None of this matters. You probably know all that, right? So anyway, the point is, I feel like I'm at the point now where I can't really stay silent about it anymore. Not that I was, I guess, but I also think that it's time that I started bringing some other people into the conversation in a very real way and start hopefully opening up some eyes, because what I ultimately would love to see is the collective builders and community of Web3, especially those OGs that were here before me. Like, I really would like to see us all step up and lead this industry. I hate to even use the word industry, lead the charge to a better world, because we're building the new version of the internet. But at this point, that's like saying you're building a new version of society, because society is built on top of the internet. And if we continue to build with the same old mentality of profit first that led to Web 2 and led to the again, I'm not there were I want to be clear, there were advantages um, to the Googles and the Amazons of the world. Obviously, they got us here. But we've now seen what happens when those are unchecked and there's no alternatives, and centralization is taken to a logical extreme. And now we have one individual. By the way, thank God it's Elon Musk who's doing some of this shit, because he's not that far from Lex Luthor, right? It's like literally an entire this was just in the fucking news. An entire sovereign government was blocking his satellites. So he just said, "Fuck you. I'm smarter than you. I have more intelligent people than you. I'm just going to circumvent your block." And he did. And now there's internet again in those areas. Now, that's a good thing, I argue. He did a good thing. But he did it unilaterally. Like, he just overtook the entire sovereignty of a nation. One person. And everybody's applauding him, because this time it looks like he's on the right side of history. But he's not Batman, y'all. Right? And even Batman, if you watch the new movie, God, so good. Has nothing to do with this conversation. Well, it kind of does, but I can get to that later. Not on this one. But the point is, he's not a fucking superhero, right? But thank God he's purpose driven, not profit driven. He's got a lot of profit. He controls a lot of resources as an individual. But you don't have to look too far down the list to find somebody who's kind of the other end of the extreme. And I worry when we give that much power to one person. We see what that looks like in the context of a government right now. And the whole world has agreed that this is not okay. I think rightly so. But why fucking stop there? And that's the promise of decentralization, right? That checks and balances need to be in place. And not, I obviously, as an American, I grew up with a certain worldview, and I was taught a certain history that, I learned later was some areas were more accurate than others. But at any rate, freedom is something that I take very, very seriously. And I know a lot of other people that come from my part of the world do too. And to me, you're not free if you can have your water turned off, if you can have your home, if you can be forcefully removed from your home, if you can be fired from your job any day, no matter how much you've put into it, if you can have a car taken away because somebody else has their name on a piece of paper. This idea of capitalistic ownership. I'm not saying it's all bad, but I think we need to be really realistic about the cost and really honest about the damage that this mindset is having on real people across the world. And if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, think whatever God you believe in, even if it's yourself, because you're in the minority. Compared to the world population, you're in the minority. Most people, they are slaves to money. Not because they're greedy. Usually, it's the opposite. The greedy people control money and use it to, like I said, exert influence and power over others. The people that I see that are changing the world in ways that I would argue are so much better, they would prefer, generally speaking, to not ever think about money. The only reason they ever think about money is because they need it to do something, right? Sometimes it's eating. Sometimes it's, sending out an exhibition of some type, or sometimes it's sending out to raise awareness, or sometimes it's, launching a new piece of tech that helps solve some great, global issue. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just sitting and have a conversation with somebody who's this fucking close from ending it. I had one of those not too long ago. And it's hard when the person across from you, on paper, they make a very strong argument why killing themselves would be better. It would. On paper, it would be better. Their life insurance would cover more than what they're making now. Plus, they're in debt. And from a purely financial ROI type of point of view, it is literally better for a lot of people, maybe you, to kill yourself, so that you can get the insurance money. And a lot of people, especially guys my age that look a lot like me and that lived lives not that dissimilar from me, choose that option because we've grown up in a world that tells us, hey, you are only as valuable as the amount of money you bring in. And as soon as you're not bringing in the money, your life is, it's worse than worthless. It's now considered a burden on your family, on society. Man. And it's hard because everybody's telling this person things are going to get better. Things will turn around. Endure, be patient. God works in mysterious ways. Yeah. God works in mysterious ways. That's fucking true. But here's the thing. What God does usually looks a lot like what you did. And luck looks an awful lot like preparation and willingness to take a risk. Most of the advice that this person was given made them more depressed and made the severity of their situation worse. But thankfully, this person did have one person in their life, a strong, supportive person that told them the truth, a hard truth, to be fair. But they said, look, nobody's fucking coming for you. Nobody's going to save you. The world's going to get worse before it gets better. It's doubly so in your case. And yeah, on paper, you're fucking better off dead. Now, can you accept that? And then maybe go, you know what? fuck all of you for thinking that. And fuck you for saying it's going to get better. And fuck you for saying that God's going to magically come down and save me. And fuck you for telling me that if I just hold on, it's going to get better. And you know what? Fuck you for saying that this world isn't broken. And fuck you for telling me that this system is fair. And fuck you if you don't see it. But I'm worth something. That person, luckily, is still here. And they have managed to start rebuilding their life. And they came from a place where it could have gone in a very different direction. And that's unfortunately becoming so much more common. And that's before you consider all the people who choose to fight, who choose to endure, who choose to continue on despite the odds, choose the brave choice, the hard choice to continue living, only to die anyway. Because, again, no support, no systems in place, and the game, and it is a fucking game, is stacked against you. And not only do you not know the rules, even if you think you learned the rules, most of them are lies. Because I helped a lot of these assholes write the books that you read. And I feel really bad about it. Because a lot of them knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that they were going to make money and you were going to not finish the book. But you were going to pay them for it. Yeah, so I guess some of this is a bit of a confession, huh? But hey, at least it's honest, I guess. I can't not try. Anyway, so what am I going to fucking do about it, right? Well, here's what I'm going to do about it. For right now, I'm going to start what I'm calling, and it'll probably change because it's me and I have ADHD, if you don't already know. And I only bring it up because it does very much affect the way I see the world, obviously, and is also the way I present. It also contributes to the fact that I can literally talk for hours clearly to myself without stopping and with no particular place that we're going. So it's probably good you know that now before just in case you have any interest in maybe taking this path with me. I want you to know what you're getting into. But for right now, I'm calling this group simply DAO. The Gospel of DAO is my book coming out at the end of the month. Anybody who's a member of the group, when it comes out, will be able to read it for free. If you've already pre-ordered or supported me in the past over the last several weeks, or I guess month or whatever now, on one of the other LinkedIn posts, thank you for that. I have your information stored, and on launch day, you'll be automatically upgraded. So you're going to be getting a free membership to this if you want it, as well as a few other special little, I hope, neat little thank you gifts, I guess you would say, that I'm working on. But anyway, for right now, just know that I'm not trying to, I guess it's technically a rug pull because it's a little different, but I'm trying to give you more than what you signed up for. And I also want to make sure that the book goes to as many people as possible. So I'm really thinking about the best way of doing that. But at any rate, definitely one thing I know for sure is that anybody in the group is going to get to read it. And so that's kind of where I started this journey, was with the Gospel of DAO, and realized that it's far more of a journey than just a book for me. And so the other big aspect that over the last 6-7 months that's been so transformative, not just for me, but for other people, from what I'm being told, at least, is the live sessions, right? Both group and one-on-one, and where we just get to talk about Web3, about projects, about obstacles, about life, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's hard, Ben. I talk about this a lot, but it's hard being a founder of anything. It's particularly hard to be a founder of a startup, right? Which, by the way, if you're in Web3, you're a fucking startup. I don't care if you're an artist. I don't care if you're a builder. I don't care if you're doing a PFP collection or a DAO or some combination of the above. If you're going to be successful, you better fucking consider yourself an entrepreneur and lean the fuck into that, or it's not going to work. Not anymore. It used to. Like, it wasn't that long ago. You could just show up, throw some bullshit out there, put some ridiculous price point on it, and say a few keywords on Twitter, and yeah, some idiot would buy it because they didn't understand what they were getting, and that's the nature of it. But that's going to work less and less now. And so if there's a silver lining for all the bullshit that's been happening recently, and all the bad actors and lazy money that's been dumped into the industry, that's it. That's the silver lining, is those types of projects now will be less successful just because so many people are now are looking for that. And so that's another reason I wanted to do this kind of very differently, because I'm about transparency. I am just me, for better or more than often for worse, and I'm okay with that. But I know now that there's enough other people that get value out of these conversations that it's definitely worth figuring out a way of doing it a little bit more at scale. And so this is my attempt. That's where I'm starting. Where I'd like to go, well, we'll see. We'll see where the community goes. One thing that I'm working on on the side that may tie into this, probably will tie into this almost definitely, and if it's even remotely successful, is the Church of DAO working title, which is a DAO itself that is designed to spread the gospel of DAO, to spread the good news of decentralization, to educate and encourage people coming into the space, as well as support and eventually maybe even fund and help with initial build outs, things like that, for purpose-driven DAOs and similar Web3 projects. So many conversations I'm having with people who have amazing ideas, even strong teams in a lot of cases, and in many cases, even a thriving community. But they're always missing one part or another, right? It's hard because it's new, and they're missing a key member of a team, or they don't quite have the funding to get over the initial hump for the fundraiser, or they maybe they have some of those things, but they don't know how to organize a DAO. They don't know how governance works. They don't even know that there's options beside. That's the other thing that drives me up the fucking wall. Everybody even the people that are doing it right, and they come in and they have ideas for DAOs, the first thing they want to every time, the first thing they want to do is do a 1-to-1 token vote ratio, where the more tokens you buy, the more fucking votes you get. And it's like, okay, but that's what we like. Why bother? Just at that point, just start a company and issue stock. Same fucking thing. The point of a DAO is that you can do things different, right? So why would my personal fan. This is probably how we'll organize. I mean, again, it'll be up to the community at that point. But in my mind, the most logical way to structure, say, the Church of DAO would be every individual human being, every true member, gets an equal vote. That doesn't mean that you can also, regardless of your tokens, position, any of that stuff, right? As far as the general votes, at least, you might do like team level votes where you have a higher percentage, like if you're a subject matter expert or something like that. But outside of that, why wouldn't you be weighted equally? It doesn't make any sense that just because you have more money or you bought in at a higher amount, that you somehow have more control. I'm sorry, and we see this with we know this shit doesn't work. I'm talking to one founder who they when they opened up their ICO in they had a friend who was a whale, and in trying to do a good job, because they were an accidental whale, right? They just bought and got lucky, and so they weren't particularly the most sophisticated kind of person. They just had this money and they wanted to support their friend, right? Like awesome, noble kind of ambition. And so they went and bought a 40% of the ICO on day one. And that's great for the treasury. Kind of sucks for the community because that one person with all their money is not going to bring in the equivalent of what that 40% would have produced if it was spread out amongst I forgot how much I guess 40%. Well, let's say it was probably somewhere close to 4,000 people if it was a 10,000, right? PFP. So that's potentially 4,000 people that you've just replaced. I don't care how much fucking money you are, even if you're Elon Musk. And I understand a lot of capitalists are going to disagree with me when I say this. I don't give a fuck. You're not worth more than 4,000 individuals, even if they're all broke ass poor. You're not. You can't. There's too much diversity of experience, thought, perspective, personality. It's so funny. We see it in generative pieces. Like that's the whole thing that makes generative NFT collections neat in the first place, is that each one is unique, even though they're kind of built of the same things. How do you not see the analogy with human beings? But yet we think that it doesn't. It baffles. Can you tell I'm upset? It baffles my mind. Like honestly, why doesn't everybody make the exact same amount of money, regardless of your job? Can you give me a reason why that's not a good idea that doesn't at some point boil back down to some version of, well, profit? This person's work brings in more profit, therefore they're entitled to a higher percentage of that profit. That's it. That's every salary negotiation ever. That's it. You're just negotiating a higher percentage of the profit that your activities generate. That's it. And certain positions automatically come with a higher percentage. That's just all there is to it. And owners, because they have their name on a piece of paper, get complete control. And I think it's time that we try something new, because we have people living and dying on the streets in the richest countries in the world. This is not an American problem. This is a fucking global problem. And those are the lucky ones, because at least they get to die high, right? Because there's an abundant amount of drugs available on the street, thanks in large part to the government's collusion with big pharma and various illegal activities. I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I can't help it. I just read history. I can't fucking help it. I don't believe it. I believe in conspiracies because they exist, but I don't understand some of them. Like, I don't think there's lizards out there, people. It's just normal human beings being douches. Like, it's not as complicated as some of you guys make it sound. It's not that fucking hard. Once you understand that the system is designed a certain way, everything becomes clear. And that's the message of the gospel of DAO. That this world is fucking broken, and we have a very short window to change it. Because this technology is going to grow, and it's either going to be overtaken by centralized interests in the pursuit of further profit at the expense of our humanity and our planet, and eventually, I think, our entire species. Or we can change the name of the game, and we can finally wake up and say that there are other ways of organizing people besides a strict hierarchy. There are other ways of organizing human creativity and ingenuity and even labor that is more equitable, more fair, and in the control of the individuals. Collaboration over employment, or competition for that matter, right? It's about, we're all going to get there. Well, that motto doesn't exist outside of this world. It's, I'm going to get there, and I'm going to fucking step on everybody else on the way up. So for me, and maybe I'm just a crazy old man who's not quite old yet, maybe. We're getting there. But how could you not want to fucking try? I don't understand. Anyway, that's me. That's what I'm doing. And for the next week, I'm gonna me building this out, holding live calls. I'll do it like this. So I'll record it. So if it's just me, it'll just be me. I'll be rambling. If it's something you're interested in, if you'd like to be part of the conversation, want to have a chat about your project, the Gospel of DAO in general, Web3, basics, or hell, really anything at this point. I have not had, if every conversation I've had, with the exception of, I would say, less than 5, has been so beneficial, because I know if you're watching this, if you're in the Web3 space, you're a creative person, you're an ambitious person, you're a passionate person. You wouldn't be in the space if you weren't. And frankly, I can't wait to talk to you more. And I just needed a way of, because we live in a monetary world, and I need a place to live, and I like eating, and it's nice having cars that aren't breaking down, those kind of things. I needed to figure out a way to monetize it. So forgive me, this is where I'm starting. There might be a better way to do it. Definitely open to ideas. But for this week, at least, what I'm doing is, one, today, establishing the home, as it were, the community, so that if anybody wants to take this journey with me, you can. If you're an artist, if you're a founder, or maybe you're an aspiring artist or founder or developer or whatever, some type of builder, fucking join. Tell me what you're building. Let's build it together on a co-working hour, or on one of the, if it's even if it's just one of the normal, even if it's just number one daily town halls. If it's just you and me, fuck it, we'll screen share. Let's build a PFP collection, whatever you want to do. We'll set up a gum. I can show you how I did. So that's what I did today. I set all this shit up in like 2 hours. Not hard. The hardest part was putting together all the Canva stuff. Is because it's fun. So like I do a lot of different versions. But yeah, like whatever. Like if you want to build something, let's fucking build it together. You need some advice. You want to inspiration. Having a hard fucking day. Oh man, that's what the church is for, right? And yeah, it is a church in my mind. I call it a church. It's not like a religious church, but it's a church in the sense that it's a community of people that have a shared belief. It just happens to, I don't believe the belief that we share, hopefully, is not one of a supernatural nature. It's just a belief that we as humans, regular, ordinary, everyday people coming together, can make a fucking difference. I don't think that's an outlandish belief. Historically speaking, I feel like we have a lot of evidence that we can truly move mountains together. And we could do so, again, in a fair, equitable way that represents an individual the way they choose to be represented, that allows an individual to be self-actualizing and self-determinate in how they're perceived and how they work, in the conversations that they have. And also provide a safe place so that when shit goes wrong, you have somewhere to go and be like, this fucking sucks. Nobody bought my first, second, third, 30th, 100 PFP art project. I've talked to 47 different funding people, and none of them, for whatever reason, there's always something that trips us up. Nobody's going to give us the funding we need. I thought I had this developer locked down, and he got snagged out, or she got snagged out from underneath me by a competitor with bigger pockets. These things happen every fucking day, and they suck. They absolutely suck, especially if you build plans, right? And now your plans have to change. Nobody wants to deal with the emotional side of that shit. Everybody's like, just execute. Fuck your execution. Execute that thought. How about no? Deal with what the fuck's happening. It's okay to mourn. It's okay to scream and be mad and be pissed. If you don't, if you're not having bad days, you're not doing anything. You're certainly not doing anything hard or worthwhile. Jesus Christ. I don't know. Like maybe take a risk, try something. My God. But the people I know that are out there in the fucking mud and in the trenches and they're fucking doing things, changing the goddamn world, it takes a fucking toll on you mentally. And I have calls where sometimes it's just two grown ass bearded men fucking crying because of the emotional weight of life. Because it's not an easy life that we've chosen, is it? I wouldn't trade it for anything. I tried. All it did was reinforce the fact that nope, it's a calling of some type. And if that resonates with you, I invite you to, it's $20. It's enough to help me cover the cost of keeping all this shit running because I got to pay for the DAO. Again, I'll show you all the behind the scenes stuff if it's something you can copy it. I'll help you fucking copy it, and you probably do a better job with your shit. But it's circle.so is what I'm using. All right, go sign that shit up. Like, start your own if you want. I'm using StreamYard for the video. Like, so it's not like it's that hard, but there's some cost involved, and the biggest cost is the time, obviously, because I mean, how long have I been talking now? I don't even know. Probably forever. And so it'll help with that, and and the more that comes in, then the more time, because again, that's the biggest thing. The more time I can devote to helping others, and I feel like that's an exponential value because those people are going to go off and do amazing things, much bigger things than I'm doing. I'm very, very much aware of my position in this space. I think, which is what I hope it to become one day at least is an encouragement to the people again out there every day in the mud, every day in the fucking front lines, just chipping away at an impossible dream, an ambition that is frankly just this side of crazy. And I want to support as many of those people as I can. But I gotta be me. And one thing I tried doing courses. I tried doing just a bunch of different things that, content creation wise to try to make things, but I'm not, you gotta be you. And I kind of need to, and that's what I tell everybody. So I felt like I should probably take my own advice. And for me, I like to fucking talk. So how do you do that? Well, you set up an environment where you have other people to talk to, and when you don't have anybody else to talk to, you're talking to the void, and so that's what we're doing, and that's where we'll start. And if it resonates, join me, and then we'll talk, and we'll come up with new ideas, and you'll go off and do things, and I'll go off and do things, and maybe we'll talk again. And maybe the second time we talk, you're gonna be telling me about all the great stuff you're doing. That's what I hope. That's what I'm excited about. And maybe the third time there'll be a few other people there, and then you could tell them what you're doing, and then they'll get inspired and they'll go do some cool shit too. And then the fourth time we talk, they'll all come back and tell us what they fucking did and inspire a whole new group of people, and so on and so on. And that's how it's supposed to work, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But I feel like there's hopefully enough builders out there that feel like I do, that maybe we could support each other a little bit. This is a long road, and we need all of you on it. I need you to. It's because it's my world too, right? Like we're gonna inherit the future regardless. And then we're gonna give it to our kids and our grandkids. We might as well fucking try. Worst case scenario doesn't work. At least we could say we tried. Anyway, so if you want to get involved, what do you do? Just JamesTimberlake.xyz. It'll redirect because I just do all this together this morning, but it's just a redirect for now to Gumroad.com. There's another one. Use Gumroad. Hook it up to PayPal. Just fucking so simple, so easy. And maybe if you do join on one of these future calls, I'll show you how. Oh, what are all these guys? I wonder if they're going to be a project down the road. Huh. Anyway, I'll show you how you can do some cool stuff with Gumroad, including like NFT stuff, without ever using crypto, because that's the other thing. Like, you don't have to like crypto to be involved in the space. I mean, it helps, but if you're getting started, you don't need it. There's so much freedom to be had, and there's such an opportunity for that freedom and that creativity to build something better. And so, anyway, all that to say, come to jamestimberlake.xyz. Boom, boom, boom. You can see it on the thing down there. It'll take you to this site. Well, actually, here, let's just do it in real time. I'll show you what it's going to do. You're going to come to this site, right? Cool. And there's two things. If you like, look, maybe you're just like, James, you're just some crazy dude. What the fuck? All right, no problem. You don't have to join. Like, no big deal. You want to just chat? Or maybe you want to have a private chat. You don't need a whole group thing. You just want a one-on-one chat. That's dope. Click this bitch right here. Yeah, see this? That's me. By the way, look at this. I don't know what it looks like on your screen, but for me, it's no. There it is. For me, it's over here. But like, I look just, how is this not representative of me? I mean, look, it's fucking me, yo. Only thing is, I got a fucking jacket on. It doesn't matter. The point is, click on this shit. Here you go. Boom, right here. You want to do a quick 20-minute call? $10. I'll chat. We're definitely going to go more than 20 minutes, like they always do. But I'd like to set some kind of standard. I'm giving it away right now. Like I'm guarantee you I'll talk to you longer than 20 minutes, but $10. If you can afford more, please consider giving more. That'd be great. That'd be very helpful. But give what you can. Don't hurt yourself, as it were. If you're in a position where even the $10 is too much, fucking DM me. And I'll probably just waive it. Like, I don't have how much more clear I could be. I don't give a fuck about money. I hate money. I'm just be honest. I'm gonna tell you that shit right now. I think money is one of the worst things that we could have done. I'm not saying we didn't make the best of it while we had it. We built a pretty amazing world, and I'm very grateful to be in it. But I do think it's outlived its usefulness. It's time to start exploring other options in the same way that oil and gas got us so far, but now we need to move the fuck on. And I won't go into it now, but those two things are very, very interconnected. One supports the other. Oddly enough, again, this monetary, it is at the root of so many of our social issues, not just the epidemic of drugs, but also on the flip side of that is the systematic incarceration of certain community members based on the fact that they use certain drugs that are in many cases less harmful than legal drugs, but less profitable. And as soon as it's funny, you see this with the cannabis industry, as soon as the top of the pyramid figured out how to make money off of cannabis, all of a sudden it started getting legalized. Isn't that funny? It's almost like the moral argument was all bullshit to begin with, and the scientific medical arguments were non-existent, and it was all about the money, which, interestingly enough, if you go back and look, you know who pushed for it? It was the paper barons. Why? Because they couldn't outlaw cannabis. They couldn't outlaw hemp, and hemp was a far more durable and economic choice to make everything from fucking rope to paper to fabrics. And also you could regrow a field of hemp 4 times, an acre of hemp 4 times a year after year, meaning that you can get 400x yield out of 1 acre versus a tree. Therefore, it's less scarce. Therefore, it's less profitable. Therefore, we need to make sure that we can figure out a way to make sure that nobody is using that. Can't make it illegal, but we can make cannabis illegal. So if we make cannabis illegal, then we'll just say that the cousin hemp should also be illegal. And if nothing else, it'll be distasteful. It'll have a tarnished image. And then we can start fucking bulldozing the rainforest and make a lot of fucking profit. Congratulations, it worked. You put a lot of people in jail and in the grave in the meantime, but a couple old white guys made a lot of fucking money in the process. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Speaking of money, because we live in this fucking world, I need some, and it fucking pains me. So I'm trusting you not to take advantage of that. If you need a conversation, if you're on the brink, or if you just need some inspiration, or you're just having a hard time, or whatever the fuck it is, call Pastor Jay. That's me, you know? And I'm a real pastor, by the way. I'm actually ordained and everything. Went to fucking school for it. The whole 9 yards. Did counseling, training, everything. So seriously. And so also the side effect of that is if we do ever have a private conversation, it's, at least here in the US, it's legally protected. So we can talk about anything and I can't be subpoenaed. So that's cool. In case that's a thing, it needs to, in case there's a conversation you need to have that would require that. The point is, I'm here. Let's chat, right? And again, if you can't afford it, cool. I get it. Hit me up, DM. If you can, most of you watching this can do it. You know, if you need somebody to talk to, boom, throw it in here. $10. Let's talk. Let's chat. Whatever you need. If you can't afford it, or if you're just desperate, shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. I got you, right? If, however, maybe we've talked in the past, maybe you've read my articles for a while. Not maybe articles, posts. I don't know, they're longer than my maxed out posts. I always go until I hit the red, and then I have to start deleting, and that's my editing process. But at any rate, you know, for whatever reason you're already sold, and or maybe you just like you just want to see how, you know, what it's like to talk to somebody that can go this long without taking a breath. That's cool. Whatever it is, like, you can become a Taoist, right? If you believe in the mission, if you believe in the power of decentralization, if you believe in the power of DAO specifically, Web3 more generally, and the associated tech that are coming along with that, and the future that will be built upon those technologies, that as they stack on top of each other, you know, blockchain and AR and VR and metaverses, as the lines between those blur, and it all becomes one multi-layered user experience. We're gonna need a lot of we're gonna have to have a lot of difficult conversations around identity, around ownership, around equity, around, and with automation increasing across the board, not just in Web3, by far. I mean, one of the biggest areas we're seeing it in is in manufacturing and transportation. Cab drivers, truck drivers. My dad was a fucking truck driver his whole life. We had a really good living growing up because he made a lot of money driving a truck. I never fucking saw him because he was gone 5.5 days out of the week every week. But it paid well. And so I am thankful for the sacrifice in many ways. But I hate that he had to make that. And I resent the fact that I have to make that sacrifice as well. And I'm trying to structure my life in a way that I don't have to do that as often, because my kids are getting older and they'll be gone soon. And I want to, spend as much time with them as I can, the time that I have left with them. And then, in a few years, and I do mean just a few, they'll be fucking gone. They'll be out living their own lives, and I can support them from afar. And then, cool, I'll dedicate nights and weekends or whatever. That's cool. But in the meantime, I want to be with my kids. So this is another, and frankly, I think that's probably a lot more common. I would be shocked if it wasn't of a kind of ambition for the average person. And I think that we have an opportunity to start having those conversations now, because human labor it's being outsourced to machines on a daily basis, and it's only going to get faster and more efficient as it goes. Even things that like writing, AI can write better than most writers now. I still like my voice, but if you were to look at my writing versus say an SEO AI copywriter, theirs is better from a technical standpoint. Their grammar and their spelling is going to be about a bazillion times better than my garbage. And on top of all that, it's going to be so much fucking faster because they can spit out a whole article in, depending on what system you're using, anywhere from a matter of seconds to a few minutes, depending on the length. I can spit out a full length article. And by full length, I'm talking like several thousand words in under like 3 minutes. And it'd be decent. It doesn't sound like me, but it's good. It'd be serviceable. So things like, and so in a world where all that can be done, the only thing left is human creativity and human connection and human purpose, right? Your value is in what you can contribute to the world to make it a better place, not how much value somebody else can extract out of your labor. It's not how much your IP is worth. It's not how much your brand color. It's not the size of your audience. None of that shit matters. What is your influence? On a day-to-day basis, are you, the people you interact with, are they better? Did you leave your stamp on the world, man? These are the questions, right? Like that we ask ourselves, or at least I ask myself. And it's like, how, if you were to die tonight, could you do it with a smile, saying, you know what? I lived my life on my terms, and I did my best to make the world for the next generation a little bit better. Even if you failed, could you die smiling? I mean, I could tonight. I don't want to. I think there's a lot more left to do, but I don't regret it, man. And I don't think I'm going to regret this either. Even if it's a colossal fail, even if everybody laughs at this video, nobody fucking signs up. Probably nobody will even get to the end of this. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay. Because it's about being true to yourself. And even if it fails, you can still look back on it and go, I tried. I gave it an honest effort to be me, to help people in the way that I know how. And if you do that, I want to help you with whatever that looks like for you. So I invite you to sign up. If you're a Taoist, if you believe in the mission, if you believe that Web3 and decentralization generally have the potential to reshape the planet, then join, please. $20 a month. It goes to, again, helping support the community, helping support my work so that I can do more content creation, so I can do more books, so that I can do more interviews, things like that. Not having to worry about, project work, things like that. If, and even if you're just a hobbyist, like I'd love to have you every day. I'm going to be having calls. So like, you don't have to worry about, like, it's not a course. It's nothing like that. It's just a conversation. It's a church. It's a fucking church. Think about it like a church, just without the God part. Like, it's a community of people. And I'll probably do another video on why I structured it like a church down the road, maybe tomorrow. And so, but think about it like that for now. It's a community of people that are there to support it. Well, right now it's one person. It's me. But once you join, it'll be 2, and then, 3, 4, and we'll go from there. But if you're a founder and you're either actively building your first project, or you're already heavily in a project, and you kind of want somebody that can be an accountability partner, that can be an ideation partner, that can somebody that is going to keep having these conversations and keep reading and keep researching, because I can't help myself. Like, the other thing about ADHD, it's kind of fun. In this case, it's a useful thing, is we go deep dives. So we're not fast producers, but we go fucking deep. Well, we can be, like I said, but generally speaking, we go really deep on a subject. And with Web3, it's infinitely deep and wide. So it's unbelievable. And I found a lot of people, neurodivergent people in general, not just ADHD, but in particular ADHD, autistic people, individuals coming through and thriving in this environment, because there's so much untapped potential in the average neurodivergent person that is simply, it's pushed down by the more common requirements of like day-to-day jobs, right? Like the majority of jobs out there, even within the Web3 space. But if you go out, but those that are able to find a home that honors their uniqueness, their perspective and mannerisms, and their powerful, albeit different brain, man, set them loose. Oof. You'd be amazed at what insights they'll come back with. And so all that to say, as a result, we're seeing, and not just neurodivergent people, like just marginalized people of all communities across the board are coming into Web3 hot, and they're bringing their perspectives and their experiences and their passions, and they're building a new world that is in their image. It's in all of our images. It doesn't represent one community anymore. Now it represents a community of communities, like a fucking church is supposed to. Come as you are. Be loved. Be supported. Be you. Be holy. Holy just means holistic, right? It means good. It means bad. It means the pretty parts, the ugly parts. There's no shame. It's a shame-free zone. It's like my only rule. Because I don't give a fuck who you are, where you came from. Everybody is exactly the same to me. And I know a lot of people say that, but for me, it's biological. I do not distinguish between people in the way most people do. And this has caused a lot of issues with family and friends in the past, because they aren't priorities. Just because of some status or symbol, or external label applied to them by birth or status or title or whatever. And that's something that is this, for me personally, has been a kind of a very difficult thing in my life, until I found Web3 and found that, oh, finally a group of people that understand. It's not about any of the external labels. It's about who you are, what you're doing, and how you're going to make the person across from you a little bit better. Anyway, if that shit resonates with you and you're building something crazy good and you need that support partner, you need those regular meetings, cool. Like Outer Circle, get a dedicated call with me once a month to do a project overview, to do an accountability check, to do whatever you need. Plus, you'll be part of the community. So like, you can still join all the daily calls. You can still have unlimited DMing with me and the other community members. Like, all of that will still be there, but you'll have a dedicated private time to discuss. And then I would argue, don't sign up for this without talking to me first. But if you're somebody I've worked with before, and you need like a daily private kind of a situation, or maybe not daily, but like you just need more support, then all right, cool. Talk to me about the Inner Circle. If you're a collaborator that I've worked with in the past, and you want some more strategic, I guess, hands-on shit with your project, Inner Circle is a way to do that. But I don't think that's most people. Like, most people are going to be $20 a month. I tried to keep it very reasonable so everybody could do it. Again, if you can't afford $20 a month and you have just an undying passion, or you just need support, just tell me. It's not about the money. Just tell me. I'll get you in. It's not a big deal. But for those that can, I do appreciate the support. And we're going to keep growing. I'm going to do more of these. I'll probably get better at it. Hopefully I'll get shorter at it. And we'll just see what fucking happens. So thanks so much. Hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Talk to you then.